There are moments in life when the old direction no longer works, but the new direction has not fully appeared. You cannot go back. You do not know exactly where forward leads, and for a while, you are standing between certainty and possibility. No clear map, no guarantee, no proof that the next decision will work. Only the quiet understanding that staying where you are is no longer an option. This is uncertainty. And the mistake we often make is believing that we must see the entire path before we are allowed to take the next step. Welcome back to 5 Minutes Forward, 5-minute mindset shifts for a better life. I'm your host, Quincy Hampton. Last week, we talked about courage and the courage required to change direction. But after the pivot, there is often a period nobody prepares you for. The space between leaving what no longer fits and knowing exactly what comes next. The space can feel uncomfortable because even an unhealthy certainty can sometimes feel safer than an unfamiliar possibility. At least the old path was known. You knew the expectations, the routine, the risks, the version of yourself to survive it, but uncertainty removes that familiarity. And suddenly, you are being asked to move forward without the comfort of prediction. Most of us do not simply want direction. We want guarantees. We want to know the decision will work before we make it. We want to know the relationship will last before we become vulnerable. We want to know the opportunity will succeed before we risk being seen trying to do it. We want certainty first and courage second, but life rarely works in that order. Often, courage comes first, and clarity comes later. And the path becomes visible only after your feet begin to move. The mind prefers predictability when the outcome is unclear. We begin searching for control. We replay possibilities. We imagine worst case scenarios. We delay decisions while waiting for information that may never arrive. That overthinking can feel responsible. It can feel like preparation, but sometimes it is fear wearing the clothes of analysis. You tell yourself, I just need more time, one more opinion, one more sign, but beneath all of that, you may be trying to eliminate a risk that can only be understood by living through it. Some questions cannot be answered from the starting line. They require experience, a race that has begun to be run. Movement, feedback, adjustment, not endless prediction. We treat clarity like permission. We say, when I feel completely certain, I'll act. But clarity is often not the requirement for action. It is the result of action. You take a step, you learn something, you make an adjustment, you discover what fits and what does not. Then the next step becomes clearer. This does not mean acting recklessly. It means accepting that thoughtful action can still contain uncertainty. You do not need to know everything. You need enough information to take one responsible step. Imagine driving at night. Your headlights do not illuminate the entire journey. They show you only the road directly ahead. A few seconds, a few turns, enough distance to continue safely. And somehow, that limited light is enough to take you miles. You do not stop the car and demand to see the destination from the driveway. You trust the next visible stretch, that another stretch appears, then another. This is how meaningful transitions work. You are not given the complete map. You are given the next honest step. I have learned that uncertainty feels different when you stop treating it like evidence that something is wrong. Sometimes uncertainty does not mean you made a bad decision. It means you left a familiar one. It means your old identity can no longer provide all of the answers. It means you are entering a part of your life that cannot be built entirely from past experience. And that can feel frightening, but it can also mean you are finally creating something new. There is wisdom in pausing. Sometimes you need time to recover, to gather information, to listen, to prepare. But there is a difference between pausing with purpose and waiting because something feels vulnerable. And purposeful pause has a reason, a question you are answering, information you are collecting, strength you are rebuilding. Fearful waiting has no finish line. It keeps moving the requirement for action further into the future. So ask yourself, am I preparing or am I postponing? Am I becoming more ready or simply becoming more comfortable with delay? Here's your 5-minute forward challenge for this week. Choose one decision you have delayed because you cannot guarantee the outcome. Then divide a page into 2 sections. On one side, write what I need to know. On the other side, write what I wish I could know. Be honest about the difference. What you need to know may include the real cost, the immediate risk, the people affected, the next responsible action, what you wish you may include, whether it will work perfectly, whether you will regret it, whether everyone will understand, whether you will ever fail. Those are guarantees life may never give you. Then choose one step that is small enough to be responsible, but real enough to create new information. Send the message, make the call, submit the application, begin the conversation, test the idea. Do not ask the step to solve your entire future. Ask it only to reveal what comes next. Uncertainty is not always a wall. Sometimes it is a doorway without a visible room behind it. You cannot know everything waiting on the other side, but you can decide whether fear will keep you standing in the hallway. You do not need complete confidence. You do not need perfect clarity. You do not need a guarantee that every step will be correct. You need the humility to adjust and the courage to begin moving, because forward does not always arrive as a 5-year plan. Sometimes forward is one conversation, one decision, one honest action taken before certainty arrives. The map may be incomplete, the destination may still be distant, but the next step can still be clear enough. And sometimes that is all you were ever meant to see. That is uncertainty, not knowing the entire road, but refusing to remain still until the whole world explains itself. Next week on 5 Minutes Forward, we'll talk about adaptability and why strong people do not always hold tighter. Sometimes they learn to open their hands, keep moving forward.